Hello, good evening. We'll begin the webinar in a couple of minutes. Please sit back, relax, and I think we'll start in a couple of minutes. Just setting up things at my end. Okay, perfect. Good evening. We will quickly begin this session. Let me just set myself up. Okay, so on the other screen, we should put all of you on this side of the screen. Yep, perfect. Good evening, class. Welcome to this webinar on CFA. And I think next 20, 15, 20, 30 minutes, I would typically take to explain you around CFA. And uh, then I think we will move on to your questions largely. So let's do this. Okay. Chartered Financial Analyst program. That's, I think, what all of you have assembled here for. Let's quickly walk through this. Now, please remember when you are looking to enroll for a program like CFA, we are looking at certification which is coming from CFA Institute USA, considered to be the gold standard in the field of finance. Personally speaking, there are a lot of benefits of getting a CFA eventually over a span of time. If if you eventually want to get into investment banking, you want to get into credit rating, you want to get into investment management industry, let's say, portfolio management, equity research, mergers and acquisition type of profiles, I think this is one of the most coveted designation that you can sign up for. The visibility is pretty great from a CFA perspective. When I was writing my CFA exam almost a decade back, 2010 is when I wrote my level 1 and 2011 level 2. So at that time there were around easily 5 to 8,000 people writing this exam in Mumbai. So you can imagine what CFA would have caught up over the last 10 years. The number of people who are now interested in writing CFA are much higher, and the visibility is added to the certification. Even employers now recognize that CFA is one of the definite standard that they would like to have. Employees, if an employee is a CFA or any levels of CFA have been cleared, that's an added advantage from a company's perspective. Okay, so that's something that is now adding up to the career advantage here largely. Skills which CFA covers for you, topics which CFA covers for you are more practical than anything what you will eventually do in other courses. There are a lot of things around 10 or broad subjects that you cover in a CFA program, and which makes it even more attractive from a recruiter perspective. Please remember, from a company's perspective, uh, if you carry the skill set which the company needs uh, readily available, I think that adds to your employability, and that also gives you that the relevant compensation associated with it. So decade back, when I was writing this, I thought people didn't knew about CFA, but at the exam center, I eventually realized that this was something which was important, and people do realize that CFA was something which added value to their resumes and value to their profiles. Uh, Now, obviously, the visibility is much higher. It adds more marketing to your resume than perhaps uh, let's say finance knowledge obviously is important. They teach you a lot of finance, so you will have a much higher skill set or skill base as compared to what you currently sit with. But besides that, I think one of the most important facets which this brings to the table is marketing to your resumes, right? Okay, so marketing is something that effectively becomes pretty handy from your resume perspective. What is this program? What is covered? How many levels are there? So that's something that we are eventually moving forward to. Please give me a minute. So the exam is spread across 3 levels. So you will have to write 3 examinations, 3 levels. Uh, Level 1, level 2, and level 3. The pattern is slightly changed. The process has slightly changed because of COVID. Earlier, level 1 used to happen 2 times a year, level 2 1 time a year, and level 3 again once a year. Now that pattern has changed. Now we have level 1 and obviously going to 4 times a year, level 2 2 times a year, and similarly level 3 the attempts have increased. You can pick up an attempt of your choice and or your suitability, and you can write attempt accordingly, right? So the next attempt that we will have typically is the November attempt, and then you will have the February and the May attempt, and so on and so forth. It's important to clear one level before you go on to level 2 or level 3 from that perspective. So it's fairly important that you clear the prior level before you go to the next level per se. Uh, Once you complete all the 3 levels of examination, you clear all 3 levels, then you will have to, or along with the 3 levels, and even if you have an experience today in a relevant industry, right? The list of the relevant industries available on CFA website. You will need basically a 36-month of relevant experience. This experience can be before CFA, this experience can be during the CFA, this experience can be after writing level 3. So cumulatively, you should have 36 months of relevant experience, 3 levels cleared, and then you will be given a CFA charter by the CFA Institute USA. Uh, as I said, some patterns have changed. Earlier, when we used to write the examination, this was a paper-based test. Now it's more of a CBT, computer-based test that all of you will be attempting towards. The number of questions have also been reduced subsequently. Uh, we were writing 120 questions in the morning paper and 120 questions in the afternoon paper. You were writing 90 and 90. So number of questions have reduced. It's more of a computer-based test now than the paper-based test. So virtually is something that all of you will eventually be writing this. So CFA does add a lot of finance to your resume. If you think you're lacking on the financial skill sets, CFA does teach you a lot of finance, and it doesn't matter whether you come from an engineering background or you come from a non, commerce background. You come from a commerce background. It's a value add. Honestly, I'm an engineer, so for that matter, if there are engineers in the meeting today, I think take solace from the fact it's easy. It's not difficult. Our engineering, I think, is more difficult than doing a finance course. So it's more or less pretty easy. A lot of you can do that if you are honest about your preparations. I think you can definitely crack CFA. So engineers, I think you can equally write this, and commerce guys, obviously for you this should be relatively easy. What are the 10 subjects which CFA covers for you? The list on your screen: ethics, one of the most important theoretical subjects that CFA teaches, because ethics is, I think, the core of the profession. uh, Quantitative methods, economics, financial reporting, corporate finance. And then you have topics like equity, fixed income, derivatives, alternative investments. And eventually you will end up your preparation with portfolio management and wealth planning. Remember, CFA is a course which is more oriented towards asset management industry or investment management industry, and which is why the weightage gradually shifts towards asset management, portfolio management, and wealth planning type of subjects, right? You gradually pull the weight lower on quantitative and reporting requirements, because you are not going to be an accountant end of the day. You are not going to apply for an accounting role. You are more closely aligned to financial reporting and analysis roles rather than, or you're more closely aligned to investment management roles rather than a financial reporting and analysis role. So therefore, you see the weights are transitioning lower on the top end of the subjects, and they are increasing at the bottom end, because most of us would like to manage portfolios or funds, and that's what the subject is all about. If you're looking to get into risk advisory, if you're trying to get into sorry uh, core banking, CFA doesn't add a lot of value there. So, if you want to do those profiles, please don't go and enroll for a CFA. Being very honest about it, because you are going to put in a lot of effort in doing a CFA. Money may not be a challenge for a lot of you, but time is something that all of you will have to devote to this certification. So it's very important that you pick up the right certification for your requirements. As it states, each level roughly takes you around 250 to 350 hours of study, and that's something which would be required out of a candidate to clear the examination. Exam pattern for this is the older one. This is not yet updated. I think this is talking about the February 21 exam that's gone, right? But the pattern is now the February 21 exam. You will have to schedule an exam, pick up a date of your reckoning or of your choice. 180 questions, which are split in two different exams, right? So exam is two exams of 2.25 hours or 2 hour 15-minute exams, and 90 questions in each session would be asked to you, multiple choice questions. If you pass level 1, you can register for level 2, obviously, and if not, then you can re-register for level 1 in the next attempt, and that's something that you can keep a track of. So it's a computer-based pattern now, 180 questions, and that is something that you eventually have to crack to get through level 1 to begin with. Level 2, level 3 is very similar. The only difference is level 2 is more of a case study type of examination, where you have reading comprehensions and you try and answer questions based on reading comprehensions, or large case studies, item sets. These are typically known as item sets from a CFA perspective. Level 3 is where you are going to write essays. You are going to write portfolios. You are going to actually write essay type answers. So one examination paper of level 3 is essay type. The other examination paper of level 3 is item set again, which is again an objective examination. Now, as I said, the exam happens twice a year. Score matrix less than 50% if you get on a subject that's considered poor. 50 to 70 is what CFA will tell you is average, and above 70 is above average. Nowadays you get rankings in terms of percentile. So they tell you, where is the top 10, where is the top bottom 10 and top 90 percentile people, and where are you scoring. So they give you a graphical representation of results nowadays. Key to crack level 1 is performing well in ethics and FRA. I'll say please take that with a bit of pinch of salt. I honestly don't believe in that line. You out of 10 subjects, if you score very good in 2 and if you don't score good in 8, you are not clearing the exam. As simple as that. So it's about balancing that scorecard in such a way that you get over the line. Obviously, FRA is a large weightage topic in CFA level 1, which is why FRA is important. Ethics, that's fine. I've seen candidates with average or below average scorecards on ethics, and they have cleared the examination because their other 8 or 9 subjects were exceptionally good. They scored exceptionally high marks on the other 8 or 9 subjects. So that is something that you have to keep in mind, that yes, it's about scoring on an overall basis. Exam dates, not updated. I think that the slides are not updated at all. So exam dates will obviously, you will find that on the examination or on CFA website. The next attempt is in November, and then you have a February attempt and you have a May attempt then. So you can pick up an exam date which you believe is reasonable and gives you ample time to prepare. Exam centers, now obviously these are computer based tests, so you will be virtually writing the exam from different locations, which are different centers which have been offered to you by CFA Institute. Status, this is something that we have talked about, right? So you're currently registered. Where are you? Not necessary from your perspective. From your perspective, I think more important is pick up an attempt as early as possible, because there is a fee aspect to it, right? If you are going to register for the examination at the earliest timeline, you are going to pay lesser fee. As you keep getting closer to the exam, the fee keeps increasing, right? So that's the variable aspect associated with the examination. At least that makes your cost of writing the examination a bit more expensive. uh, what is your study material, and what eventually will you need? Now, there is a varied opinion around this in the industry. The first and the most comprehensive material that you can read for your preparations is the material sent by CFA Institute. As soon as you register, as soon as you pay your fees, uh, CFA Institute dispatches your books. You can pick up a e-copy if you want. You can pick up a physical copy, and that's the most comprehensive material that you will get. The only concern is the comprehensive material takes a lot of reading. You should be a really avid reader to complete that material. It's in a comparative scale, CFA material would be around 10,000 pages, and other materials may be around 3 to 4,000 pages. So you have to take a call. Do you need to read the comprehensive one, or do you need to read the abridged versions? Post which you can obviously pick up books from other publishers such as Kaplan. Kaplan does give you books which you can use for your preparation, and they're fairly good. I think a lot of people use those books and they still clear the examination fairly easily. Nowadays, Willy is also a publisher which is doing CFA books, but honestly, I've not read Willy, so it's hard for me to comment on Willy's content. I've read Kaplan. Kaplan books are pretty decent. You can obviously clear an examination using Kaplan books. EduPristine would be providing you certain material as part of the course here. So if you want, you can obviously pick that up. There's content available on the learning management system. Once you enroll, you get access to the LMS, or the learning management system, which has past videos, PDFs, question papers that obviously will help you in your preparation. Finally, every time a faculty does a subject for you, they also share some notes with you. So for example, if I teach equity investments or fixed income, I provide those notes to the student. You can refer them, right? Because you've attended the class, you should have something in hand which helps you connect with the class again if you're going through the videos. In case you miss a session, for now everything is a virtual delivery mode. So in case you miss a session, these sessions are recorded, and you can obviously revisit the session through your LMS access. Along with the study content, you will need calculators. Two categories. You can get an HP calculator, or you can get a Texas BA2 calculator. Your choice, Texas BA2 or Texas Instrument calculator, or an HP calculator. No major differences, minor differences in cost. Please note, the calculators and the books are comparatively cheaper on the offline market versus the online market. Given a lot of us would like to hit Amazon and just check what the rate is, Amazon is fairly expensive in terms of these calculators as compared to the offline market. So if you wish to buy some of them, and you have to buy, if you're enrolling for a CFA, you will have to buy a calculator. There's no option. You have to use a financial calculator. You're not allowed scientific calculators in the examination, and for that matter, I think offline is a better route to purchase these things. Fee schedule, the dates obviously have passed on, but the fee schedule, level 1 candidates have to pay a $450 enrollment fee. That is the fee which enrolls you into the CFA program. And then exam registration fee is something added on top of your enrollment fee. $700 if you register with early timelines, and $1,000 if you're going to register with the standard timeline. So that's where the $300 difference in the cost comes up. In case you are going to rewrite the exam, you're not able to clear and you are going to rewrite the exam, in that case, you do not have to pay the enrollment fee. Then you are only supposed to pay the registration fee or the exam registration fee. So for candidates who reappear for the examination, $700 is the fee. For people who are enrolling fresh into the CFA program, $1,150 would be the fee with early registration, and $1,450 will be the fee with late registration. So the point is, I think try and register as early as possible. There is no rush to write an examination, honestly. Based on my experience, you may write the next attempt, and now it's much more easy and convenient because you have 4 attempts in a year for level 1. Earlier there were only 2 attempts, so that's fine. Even if you write it 3 months later, it would not impact your end outcomes a lot. Okay, so in case that helps you save that cost of 25,000 Indian rupees, I think that's absolutely fine. I think you should go for it. This is how the results are nowadays displayed. As I said, they give you a graphical representation what you have scored versus others. And if you see those, that blue shaded area is what your score is, whether you are closer to the top end of the range, to the average, or towards the lower end of the range, is what CFA exam results now look like. Where do you eventually end up if you enroll for this program? Where do you eventually end up in the preparation or post preparation here? Give me a minute, let me just, yeah. So the jobs, they are across industries, right? So as I said, investment management industry, investment banking, private equity, almost everywhere you may find CFAs which are enrolled or which are employed. The companies also prefer hiring a CFA because more or less the cost is the same. If you hire an MBA or you hire an MBA and a CFA, the cost is more or less the same. So they would prefer hiring a CFA any level, right? Even if it's level 1 clear, that's an added advantage for them. So they're everywhere, from education industry or to private equity industry, and so on and so forth. So it's fairly easy to find people or people employed, the CFAs employed across the organizations. As I said, banking is one place where there are relatively less people employed, but that's something which you can take in stride. The designations, not a big fan of designations, but you may be called a financial modeling analyst, you may be called a financial research analyst, an equity research analyst, whatever is the designation, credit analyst. End of the day, you are going to start your career as an analyst, more or less, associates or analyst positions. Understand the broad role that an associate or an analyst is expected to do. You are expected to analyze asset classes. You are expected to analyze economic market conditions or economic conditions in the geography. You are expected to analyze companies' performance, do financial statement analysis, evaluations of businesses. So the end role for all of us as an entry level analyst remains the same. You may be called by any name that's completely different between organizations, but more or less that the role remains the same, right? You are working in investment management industry and you are looking at advisory services as one key goal. As I said, employment across top names, you'll find people now getting employed everywhere almost. Because there's so many CFAs. There are roughly 170,000 CFA charter holders across the globe. Still relatively very low when you look at the people who are employed in the corporate sector, but they're catching up. Gradually, people are realizing the importance of doing CFA and getting a charter done. That brings me to a very important point that I would like to put forward. Please enroll in the program if you have the vision to clear 3 levels. If you believe you would do level 1 and then you may want to quit the program, get a job and quit the program, it doesn't add a lot of value. Level 1 is now more or less very diluted. There was a time everyone wanted to do an MBA. It's fairly similar now. A lot of people want to do CFA, and therefore you see the brand getting marginally diluted. Okay, so be careful about that fact that you are aware about what is happening on the designation. Comfortable till here. Now, with respect to EduPristine, I'll quickly brief you about it as a freelance faculty. I'll quickly brief you on what EduPristine does. I think most of you know EduPristine is one of the largest and the oldest authorized training provider for CFA. So CFA does authorize some entities as their training partners, and EduPristine has been out there in the market for almost 12 odd years. I think I have been a freelance faculty with them for around 8-9 years teaching CFA. So one of the oldest training partners for CFA exam in India. It's a part of a US company. So EduPristine was earlier an Indian startup, but eventually got sold out to a US listed company, Adtalem. So EduPristine is part of the Adtalem Global Education Group, New York Stock Exchange listed company, and primarily provides courses in the field of accounting and finance. So I think that's important. The key thing, all the faculty members who are going to teach you would be CFAs. They would have industry experience, so they would be currently working in different industries, right? So they would be into investment banking, they would be into equity research. So you will hear it from industry experts rather than academicians. Let's put it that way. Along with this program or this training that you are going to take up from a CFA perspective, classroom trainings, when we had classroom, obviously there was an offline training that used to happen on weekend. Now these are live trainings which are weekend and weekdays. So if you wish, you can pick up weekday training programs. 3 hours on weekdays is what the training program is, but that's generally oriented towards college students who have time over weekdays. Weekend training programs are 5 hours every week, every day, basically Saturday and Sunday. Either morning slots 9 to 2 or afternoon evening slots 3 to 8, depending on your availability and the batch which is open as of now. 120 hours, which means 24 days of training. It will span over, therefore, easily 5 to 6 months of training, which will be there. And then after the training, there is a crash course which is conducted, which is more or less a revision of the entire course as such. So these are all currently these are all online trainings, and I'm not sure when the classroom trainings will start, given the scenario around COVID there. So all classes recorded and you can access them whenever you want. Why EduPristine? One of the biggest reason, I think, I'm a third party, right? So hear it from a third party, not EduPristine, not a part of the sales team at EduPristine. So honestly, no vested interest, neither your side nor EduPristine side, third neutral party. I think the biggest reason which you may want to join EduPristine is if you think it's difficult for you to study on your own, and you don't have the willpower to sit for 5-10 hours and study over the weekend. I've taught doctors, I've taught engineers, commerce grads, chartered accountants over the last 8-9 years on CFA. Surprisingly, doctors have learned CFA. I don't know what they will use it for, but I've taught doctors in CFA batches in Mumbai. Come to the class if you think you cannot read it on your own, or you don't have the willpower to read it on your own. The faculties, obviously, I think you will enjoy the sessions, given their industry faculties and not academicians. So you'll get to hear a lot of things on a day-to-day basis which they experience while working. A pretty strong learning management system platform is what EduPristine is carrying over with them. So a lot of content that you can access and prepare yourself. So that's something that eventually you may want to look forward to. Part of this training program, you also get soft skill training and placement assistance from EduPristine. So they have a team which is a placement assistance team, and they do help place people in entry-level positions. So soft skill training and placement assistance are two things which EduPristine does bring to you along with the course. The average feedback is 4.7 for the faculties out of a base of 5, and that's for around 600 odd faculties over the last 10 to 12 years. So it's a fairly good feedback if that's the long tenure that you are talking about. In case you don't like a faculty, which is entirely possible, sometimes students don't connect with a faculty, there is a possibility you may report it, and you may get the faculty replaced or changed. So there's no force to sit with the same faculty for several sessions and waste your time there. So in case you believe you are not able to connect with the faculty, I think there is an option. You can ask EduPristine to switch faculties, and they're pretty comfortable doing that. As I said, they provide placement assistance services, but generally for entry-level positions, please keep that in mind. The senior level positions or mid-level positions are typically lateral placement, so lateral hiring. So that's something that companies pick up on their own. Entry-level positions are definitely available, and some students have benefited over the past few years per se. Clients to which EduPristine has catered to for various trainings, not necessarily CFA, right? So I personally, for example, delivered some of these trainings across IIM Indore, KPMG, Ernst & Young. So these are trainings which not necessarily are CFA trainings. These are financial modeling trainings. They are CPA trainings. For example, there are a lot of B schools where EduPristine provides trainings associated on different courses, and that's where they've been mentioned, right? Basics of finance, corporate finance, financial modeling. These are the typical courses which EduPristine does offer. Testimonials, I'll leave it to you. You should write a testimonial if you feel this adds value to you, right? So nothing that I would like to focus upon to begin with, right? I don't know how many people buy a course or enroll for a course looking at testimonials nowadays. In case you wish to enroll and what is the payment process, I think Gaurav is the right person to tell you that. Gaurav is from EduPristine. You can note down his number and his email address. You can connect with him for registrations, for fees, for batch details, and all of those things. I'm more from the content side, more from the faculty side. So I would be happy to address questions on content, on why should you do a CFA, about CFA, anything that you have. So shoot, the forum is open for questions. I'll give you, I think, the necessary rights. Go for it. I will be happy to address your queries.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Loud and clear.
Hi. See, myself Deepak Makwana. Okay. And I have a 10 years experience in investment banking. So I'm more towards a sales side, sales.
Okay.
So we generally do a sales. Okay. Means we called ourselves a wealth manager, but end of the day, we are selling a product to our clients.
Correct.
So if I do a CFA, it would help me with a 10-year work experience.
With a 10-year work experience, moving from wealth management to core IB roles, which are more analyst driven roles. If Deepak, that is your eventual goal.
Okay.
Okay. So give me a minute. I'll just put.
Yeah.
So it would take time. I have a few friends in wealth management who have done a CFA, but they don't want to move out of wealth management because the variable payouts in wealth management are fairly high. And
Yes.
After 10 years, if you want to move out, you may not get that payoff. So I know people in Citibank, my batchmates, who are still working there after completing a CFA because they say no one will pay me as much as Citi pays me for mortgage sales.
That is what my question. See, currently also I am also a handsome package with the current company. So if I do, CFA would help me or not if I'll go ahead with this. Right.
You may switch your job, but I don't know whether you will get the same package or not because you would be starting a new role as a fresher, honestly.
Okay.
So if it's
got your point. Thank you.
Yep. Questions? Yeah, go ahead. For any questions that you may have, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Hi, Tarun. Gaurav this side.
Hi, Gaurav.
Hi. Actually, I have a experience of 4 years right now in the investment side only. Currently working with Motilal Oswal. Okay. So, and I'm a MBA graduate as well. So I was actually keen to know that I am a bit confused between doing FRM or CFA. So, is there any point on that on which I can decide between the two of them?
Simple. I think the way I look at it is where is your eventual goal, right? Do you want to get into credit management, risk management, banking? If these are three places where you think you would like to make a career, risk management, credit, and banking, then I think you should look towards FRM because risk consulting, credit management, banking are all FRM oriented. FRM पढ़ने के लिए आपको डेरिवेटिव से काफी ज्यादा प्यार होना चाहिए, आपको स्टैटिस्टिक्स से बहुत ज्यादा प्यार होना चाहिए और आपको क्वांटिटेटिव मेथड्स से बहुत ज्यादा प्यार होना चाहिए. So if you think you can, if you think you can do all of that, you can go for an FRM because CFA is more towards investment management, portfolio management. If you like asset classes, equity markets, I think that then go for a CFA.
Okay, actually the thing is I have already always set my goals towards such profiles only. But the thing is, as I got the placement from my MBA school in the investment banking side, okay, in the product side, and it's actually the sales part more in that. So my plan was primarily to switch my profile into product side, which I can I
So
can
you
get.
are currently working in a product control department.
Actually, by name it is actually from the product side, but actually we are doing sales there.
By any possibility or probability you are working out of Bangalore?
No, I'm working in Delhi.
Delhi, okay, perfect. You should move out of product. I think that's broadly what I have understood in 12 years of my career. It's not core finance. You understood by now that product is not core finance.
Correct.
That more of operation role is what you are trying to do there.
Yeah, we are pitching products to our client base there. Actually, client base is of the highly HNI people, but eventually we are doing the sales only. Okay, we are not making the products or helping anywhere to construct the product of finance field. So that's why I'm quite confused that I think I should not continue with this profile and should go for FNI.
You may not continue, but my point is move out as early as possible, because the more experience you will have, I think the more difficult it would become to move out and get to something else.
Correct. So will FRM help me in getting the job I am looking at?
So FRM is exactly that, as I said, if you like those topics, go for an FRM. If you want to get into investment, for example, I personally like equity markets a lot, and I do a lot of valuations. For me, CFA is more suited as a course. I hate reading derivatives, honestly. So I don't want to even get into that. Pick up accordingly. Where do you want eventually to make your career? As I said, risk, banking, and credit. If these three things are you don't want to make your career, then go for a CFA. Plus, please, but don't do both of them. I've seen a lot of people do both of them, which is a total waste of time.
Will not make any sense in that.
Absolutely, it's a waste of time if you do.
Okay. So thank you for your answer. Thank you.
Any questions? Questions, concerns that I can address on CFA, whether you should do it, whether you should not do it, with MBA, without MBA, anything.
Hi, Tarun, you can decide.
Vipin sir, boliye.
Actually, Tarun, I'm having the experience of total 8 years of experience in finance and accounting. And earlier I was doing this CA, but very unfortunately I was not able to complete it. So right now I'm working in Genpact. So,
Okay.
but they am not getting any handsome package. So it's around only 4.5. So that's a low package. So one of my friend whose name is Krishan, he was in the profile of capital investment banking profile, and he's getting the handsome package in Saxo Bank. So I'm looking for the CFA. If I able to complete the level 1, so would I able to get the good job with the higher package?
Sir, jobs तो मिल जाएगी, jobs का issue नहीं है, but the problem is if you don't complete 3 levels, then क्या होगा, थोड़े दिन बाद वो stagnant हो जाएगा profile. Level 1 को थोड़ी देर value मिलती है, उसके बाद generally you don't get any incremental benefits of doing level 1. So only get into a CFA if you think for level 3, because you would be putting in a lot of time reading these courses, and given you are already working, you will be short on time, right? आपको वैसे भी time निकालना पड़ेगा काम के बाद ये सब चीजें पढ़ने के लिए.
Yes.
तो टाइम भी लगाओगे इसमें, which will leave very less personal time for you, और साथ में level 1 will effectively cost you in total 1 lakh rupees or 1,20,000 rupees. So you'll put money also in it. तभी करिए जब आपको लगता है आप तीनों लेवल करना चाहते हैं. मेरे हिसाब से एक लेवल की कोई खास वैल्यू बची नहीं है. आपको थोड़ा सा पैकेज ज्यादा मिल जाएगा, बट माय पॉइंट इज जितना टाइम आप शायद पढ़ने में लगाओगे उतने में आप दूसरी जॉब ढूंढ के स्विच भी कर सकते हो. सो अगर आप तीनों लेवल के लिए हो इसमें, तो बिल्कुल आप करो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इवेंचुअली डिपेंड्स वेयर डू यू लिव आल्सो, राइट? सो फॉर एग्जांपल मुंबई में काफी सारे ऑफर्स मिल जाएंगे आपको, बैंगलोर में मिल जाएंगे आपको ऑफर्स, बट इफ यू आर वर्किंग आउट ऑफ सम अदर ज्योग्राफी, थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट होता है.
थैंक्स.
ठीक है, तो तीनों लेवल के लिए हो तो विपिन सर आ जाइए, बिल्कुल कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. अदरवाइज थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है. Anything else?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
My name is Atta, and
Hi, Ada.
I just complete. Hello, sir. I just completed my graduation this year in subject FAP, Accounting and Finance, Bachelor's in Accounting and Finance, and currently I'm looking for a master's. So I'm a bit confused about MBA and CFA. So could you please guide me about it?
I would typically recommend that you go for an MBA to begin with, and parallel with the MBA, you can continue doing a CFA, right? So I don't recommend that you don't do a CFA, but I would say go for an MBA along with the CFA. It's very manageable.
So
Absolutely
will I
true.
be able to clear the exams if I'm going to do both the subjects together, both
Like,
the
I'll tell
courses
you,
together?
I'll tell you the advantage and the reasons for it. So जब आप MBA करते हो ना, तो MBA में आपके पास काफी time रहेगा. You will be basically in a college, and in a college environment you get time to study, right? That's one major advantage. The second thing is MBA की पढ़ाई इतनी difficult नहीं होती है. आप आराम से clear कर सकते हो MBA के examinations, तो कोई major issue नहीं है. For मैंने भी level 1 अपना MBA first year में करा है, level 2 MBA second year में करा है. बहुत सारे लोग करते हैं, और इसका benefit मिलता है आपको placement में भी. तो I think इसीलिए recommendation ये है, साथ में करो. और दूसरी चीज, जहां तक will you be able to manage both of them parallelly? Absolutely, कोई मेजर इशू नहीं होना चाहिए. MBA करना इसलिए जरूरी हो जाता है इंडिया में, क्योंकि बहुत सारी रोल्स में ना वो लिख देंगे दैट दे आर लुकिंग फॉर MBA फाइनेंस. तो अगर आपको CFA बन के ज्यादा भी आता होगा ना, तो भी वो शायद आपको रिक्रूट नहीं करेंगे, क्योंकि आपके पास MBA की डिग्री नहीं है. सो इंडिया में थोड़ा सा स्टीरियोटाइपिंग है दैट यू नीड अ पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन डिग्री फॉर गेटिंग अ गुड रोल. And that's why I recommend as a fresh graduate, अगर आप MBA में जा सकते हो तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है, and साथ में parallelly start preparing for your CFA.
So sir, what about abroad? Like they also need MBA degree?
नहीं, वहाँ का सिनेरियो काफी अलग है. If you are going to eventually work outside in an international market, you don't need more or less MBA. They will hire you for a CFA also.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Questions, class? Anything else? As I said, I think in any case, if you have even questions after the class, feel free to connect with Gaurav. Gaurav, I think, should help you with this. In case you need to connect to me and talk to me on a one-on-one basis, I would be available on 7987545129, right? So in case you wish to connect, you can give me a call and I would be available. Perfect. Questions? Anything else that I can help you with? I think. Okay, perfect. Good, then I think we'll close it here. In case you have questions, either you can call me for CFA related queries, or you can call Gaurav for EduPristine related queries that you may have. Take care. Good day.